そうでしょ。そう、それは違う。あなたの真の目的。いや、夢はそんな抽象的なものじゃない。思い浮かべることができますか？それはこういう情景。この国の中枢を預かる真の頂点たちがあなたの祖父の論文を読み、その内容に驚きながら一片の疑いもなく信じてくれること。彼らは裏側に足跡が残るその論文をうやうやしく読み、その先見性あふれる研究に敬意を示し、恐れおののく。どう想像できましたかしら？
This is my first time envisioning something like this. And yet, it's been my dream all along.
hinamizawa症候群という言葉はあなたの祖父が作られたのでしょ。その言葉がこの国の津々浦々にまで響き渡り、あなたの祖父の生み出した言葉が永遠に刻まれて残る。永遠に刻まれて残る。そう、それはあなたの祖父が、その偉業が永遠の存在に昇華されるということ。それがあなたが高の御代として生涯を捧げる夢じゃないのかしら。
My grandfather's masterpiece will be remembered forever. Remembered forever.
なのに、その偉業を全く理解できない豚たちは、あなたのその夢を単なる派閥争いや権益の奪い合いの生贄とし、無残に踏みにじろうとしている。あなたの祖父の論文をぎゅっと踏みつけたようにね。あなたは悔しい。とても悔しい。あなたが一生懸命作った資料は、そう、あなたのおじいちゃんが一生懸命作った論文と同じもの。それを踏みにじり嘲笑った彼らが許せない。おじいちゃんの偉業をバカにした豚どもが許せない。そうでしょう。そうじゃないですか。本当はそう。それを心優しいあなたは人を罵る言葉を知らなくて考え至らなかっただけ。
An indescribable emotion is filling me, making me feel like I'm suffocating. The sensation of being cautious and calm, of trust and mistrust, are all blending together. My heart is beating fast, and my fingertips are shaking. Why am I at peace? Is it because she reminded me of my true dream that I couldn't express with my own words until now? Is it because she made me aware of the anger within myself? Why am I hesitant? Is it because she's reminded me of things I've never told anyone until now? No, those are the things I've never even told myself.
ねえ、ミオさん。もし私の言ったことが間違っていないどころか大正解なのだったら、私はあなたの夢や復讐をきっと手伝ってあげることができると思います。どうなさったのかしら。大具合が悪いのかしら。ならもうこれ以上お話に付き合わせるのも悪いですわね。最寄りの駅へ送りましょう。
A small noise leaked pathetically out of my mouth, like a child apologizing for a prank.
何かおっしゃったかしら。
I know she heard me. The woman smiled, trying to make me say it again.
違います。具合悪くないです。ならよかったです。話を続けましょう。私の夢がそうなら、あなたに何ができるというんですか？あなたの2つの復讐をお手伝いします。一つはあなたの祖父のための復讐。あなたの祖父の論文を嘲笑った者たちにもう一度うやうやしく手に取らせてやりましょう。彼らが土足で踏みつけたその論文をね。もう一つはあなたと祖父の約束であり心のつながりでもある症候群の研究を派閥争いだけを理由に踏みにじり、研究を彼らの権益のためだけに終わらそうとする理事会への復讐。あなたの目の前で資料を踏みにじり、あなたの人生さえも踏みにじろうとした豚どもへの復讐。祖父の論文を手に取らせ、それを踏みにじった理事会に復讐する。こちらも腹を割りますと、もちろんお手伝いをするのは私たちの利害が一致するからです。小泉先生が日本の未来のために立ち上げられたプロジェクトを先生亡き後に食い物にしようとする輩を放置することはできません。私たちにもっと力があればそのような輩の介入を許しはしないのですが、風向きは変わり、もはやプロジェクトは小泉先生の理想には戻りません。豚どもが私欲を肥やすための豚小屋となり果てました。そのようなプロジェクトをこれ以上放置することはアルファベットプロジェクトの名付け親でもあられる小泉先生も望まれません。プロジェクトは小泉先生の理想を離れた時点で畳まれるべきなのです。派閥争いの生贄羊を今度は狼にしようというつもりですか？あなたが今のまま生涯公開できぬ祖父の論文を胸に隠居されることを選ぶおつもりでしたら、無理にとは申しません。
No, I won't let that happen. I don't mind falling to the ground myself. But at least, my grandpa's article.
あなたとおじいちゃんの結晶である論文を永遠のものにはしたくないですか？それはだってあなたの念願のはずじゃないのですか？それが私の生きる目的。あなたの本当の夢を叶えるチャンスを私たちがお手伝いします。
On the night I decided I was a loser in life and drowned myself in tears and alcohol after being abandoned by everything, I met someone who could be an angel or a devil. Is this divine salvation or the devil's seduction? I mean, unless Takano is hallucinating all this, like, she's been cuckoo and all that. Seriously, who the fuck are you? Like, are we actually gonna have a sudden twist in this story that there is actually somebody higher on the ladder when it comes to villainy? Takano is not gonna be like the ultimate villain of the story. I mean, granted, we are gonna confront her no matter what. Like, that's one of the main things that we're gonna be going through with this, but to think that such a woman like this exists that may possibly be even more deranged than Takano. Like, the only thing that I can think of is that either she's related to Hifumi for her knowing all this, that or we're having like a second version of Mio Takano right over here, except in this case with this woman, Koizumi represented to this woman the same way Hifumi represented the same way what Hifumi represented to Takano. That they made fun of Koizumi and are trampling over everything that Koizumi has worked all his life, and thus this woman who thinks dearly of Koizumi is gonna try to go up the ladder and have her revenge on everybody in similar fashion to Takano right over here. Jesus. I fought with the board of directors regarding the continuation of our research. Now, it's like that one meme. Now there's two of them. But that was completely off target. That wasn't my true goal. My objective isn't to continue researching Hinamizawa syndrome. It's to have the role acknowledged my grandfather's research as a masterpiece. Somehow, the method for achieving that swapped places with my objective and caused me to misunderstand myself. The purpose of my life isn't to continue my grandfather's research. It's to get revenge and repay them for my grandfather's suffering. That's what this woman is saying. She's promising to make my grandfather's research eternal. She's also promising an opportunity to take revenge against those who laughed at it. When Uncle Koizumi died, I thought God was playing dice with my fate. But my unshakable conviction gathered together a power stronger than the gods' die. So, maybe this meeting happened for a reason. Curse you, God. You're testing me again. I will overcome the death of Uncle Koizumi, and I will make my grandfather an eternal existence by taking revenge against the god who tested me. I will, for certain. I will take my revenge. Holy mother of God, what a fragment that was. I'm curious about this woman. The next one is The New Wind, piece 34. 34? Okay, 32, 34.
それじゃあ、俺はそろそろおいとましますわ。どうもごちそうさまでした。
ねえねえ。
Okay, well, can we get something more lighthearted right now?
また来たってな。
ただいまって、あれ、ひろしおじさん。お久しぶりです。
おお、ニアンちゃん。今帰りかい。おじさんは今から送迎だよ。
送迎？ああ、不動産屋さんのお仕事？
The Sonozaki family is one of the largest landowners here in the Hinamizawa area. However, since all the land is out here in the countryside, it just ends up sitting there. Recently, the land owned by the Sonozaki family was put on sale in lots. At the family meeting, some of our relatives opposed the idea by saying we shouldn't sell off land that was handed down from our ancestors. But Granny snapped and shut them right up. Some of the unused fields were made into vacant lots and released for public sale. Alright. Actually, I had some questions about it too. The Sonozaki family is very wealthy. We have plenty of land, as well as money. So why did we have to sell it off? What's more surprising to me is that Granny was the one who came up with the idea. Yeah, true enough. I would have thought she'd get furious if someone even mentioned something like that.
じゃあね、駅前に寄った時はぜひ遊びにおいでよ。麦茶くらいごちそうするから。
はい、ありがとうございます。
Oh, Granny Audio. You're a pain in my butt, but you sure surprised me. Like, on a few occasions, I guess.
お仕事はどんな感じですか？
都会な人が案外興味を持ってくれたからびっくりだわ。便利な都会に住みながら、わざわざこんな田舎に別荘が持ちたい小金持ちばっかりだね。
やれやれ、物好きなことで。
一見別荘じゃなくて引っ越しで検討されてるお宅があったね。アトリエが持ちたいとか言ってたから画家さんとかかね。
Ah, okay. I see where this is going.
へえ、そりゃすごいや。
おっといけねえわ。じゃあおじさんはバスに戻るわ。
Supposedly, he planned a tour to show them the lots, and he's the one driving the bus. It should be about time for the tour and explanations to end. Yeah, an artist wanting to buy like a private house right over here, like in the fields, and the first thing to do is to draw some two little girls playing in the fields as that one moment that we've seen in chapter 7 was described by Keiichi's father. Was it chapter 7? Was it this chapter? I don't remember. By the way, I feel like I remember I was commenting that maybe it was Rika and Satoko. And again, my memory is a bit vague on that, but I think I was wrong. He was talking about two girls that had like long hair. Two little girls. And I don't think that it would be like Shion and Mio just randomly playing in the fields. So I'm thinking it's like it could very well be Rika and Hanyu? Which would be kind of surprising to think about that, because that would imply that Keiichi's father would be able to see Hanyu for some reason. I don't know. He left in a hurry.
ねえ、聞いていい？よそ者嫌いのバッチャがさ、どうしてわざわざ分譲地なんかにしたの？
あたしゃよそ者なんか嫌いだし、都会者も大嫌いだ。だが村にゃ必要なんよ。空気の入れ替えみたいなもんさな。
外の人が来ることで何か村にいい影響があるっていうこと？
こかい村だね。今は忙しい世の中だから、昔だったら10年20年住んでても何にも変わらん。変化のない静かな村だったんよ。
まあそれが田舎ってもんだしね。この村じゃ昨日と今日と明日に何の違いもない。あたしゃ退屈だけどね。
でも友達ができたろ。外から竜宮のレナちゃんが引っ越してきて友達になってくれたんだろうが。近い年の友達ができて嬉しい言うとったがな。
うん。予期せぬ友達が突然できるのは楽しいね。
レナちゃんが来んとな。ミオン学校が退屈だ退屈だ言うとったんね。いや覚えとる。
それが外から引っ越してくることによる効果だって言いたいわけ？
I mean, one thing to comment right over here in regards to like Mion's class, like Chie's class and all. It was said that, like, on plenty occasions that class consists of kids of all kinds of ages, so they are at like different levels because, well, it's a not quite small village, to be quite honest. Either way, like they're of all ages, and it kind of gives you the impression that it hasn't been told in detail like all the ages of every kid in the class, but it kind of gives you the impression that Mion is like the oldest in that, and there's not a lot of kids around her age. Like, it kind of gives you the feeling that there's a lot of kids around Satoko and Rika's ages. I mean, we have Tomita and Okamura. They are young as well, so not a lot of kids around Mion's age. But then you have Rena and soon enough Keiichi as well, so...
どんな寒い冬場にかてたまには換気をせんとな。寒くてしんどいな承知で窓をガラリと開けることもあるんよ。
外から人を迎えることが村の換気になる。
ああ、そしてきれいな空気を入れて、あたしらみたいな悪い空気はとっとと追い出されるべきなんよ。
If I bring up the Hojo family, I know Granny will explode, so I won't. But I think what Granny is trying to say includes things like their ongoing isolation. Even now, when she remembers about what happened at the explanatory meeting, she gets really upset. But I guess even she feels that needs to come to an end. Wait, what? But I guess even she feels that needs to come... She feels that needs to come to an... Okay, there you go. Boy, do I suck at reading sometimes. And of course, she can't just say she'll forgive them. Not when she's at this stubborn age. I just... It reminds me of Satoko in chapter 7 and all that. You know, Oreo has like good heart at times. It's just that, can I really explain it as her being stubborn that she hasn't done it until now? Again, like, she has this good idea. She isn't like a stubborn, she isn't like 100% stubborn traditionalist. No, it has to be this way, like all the time. See, you have this good idea right over here of bringing fresh new air into the village instead of isolating yourself, you know. So, like, I'm sorry if I'm being, like, stubborn about this, and we went through this, like, plenty in chapter 7, but I have to ask again. How come she didn't apologize Satoko like much earlier? We had to go through that, like, entire thing. No, it had to be Keiichi to push her in order to give, like, the opportunity, the window for her to do so. I don't know. Honestly, I think she's behaving like a little schoolgirl who actually likes a person, but treats them rudely when they're around. Higurashi, do you really want me to picture Oreo as a tsundere? Are you kidding me? I almost went to Romanian there for a second. Maybe people really do go back to being children when they get old enough. I'm not just talking about Granny. The same can be said about all the old people in the village. No, maybe I should say the evil around here. That must be what she meant by bad air. There's no use circulating the air in a closed room. Unless you open the windows and let fresh air in, the air in the room won't be purified.
実際に引っ越してくる人があるかはわからないけど、その人にそこまでを期待しちゃうのは気の毒じゃない？
レナちゃんが一人転校してきてもミオンは変わるね。誰が引っ越してきてもきっと村は変わる。
So, you know, thinking about this from a changing timeline kind of thing, would you say that it's because of Rena that it gave the audio the idea of, you know what? Maybe bringing people in from outside would be a nice change of pace. Like you're saying that if Rena didn't move, Audio wouldn't have given this like any thought whatsoever about bringing new people in, and thus Keiichi would not have been here. Or did Audio have this idea like anyway, even if Rena didn't move? Like, would she have arrived at the same conclusion if even if Rena didn't? Because it kind of the reason why I'm questioning this is it kind of makes me question who's the one responsible for bringing Keiichi in the first place. Is it Rena or is it purely Audio? I mean, you would say both, of course, but it's kind of interesting to think about it that way. My bad. Jesus Christ. Because it reminds me of that time when Rika told Keiichi, I think it was Keiichi, like in chapter 7, that of all the timelines that she has been through, for all the fragments / worlds, there were 2 times when Keiichi didn't move to Hinamizawa, and those were the saddest timelines. There.
願わくばそれが元気な若者でわしら年寄り連中が安心して村を任せられるくらい大暴れしてくれよると嬉しいんだが。
So it makes me think, like, what circumstances led to Keiichi not moving there? Is it simply because it was random and somebody else bought the house? Or is it because Rena didn't move and thus that timeline didn't have neither Keiichi nor Rena? Or it did have Rena, but Oyo decided not to sell like any houses? I mean, we're probably never gonna know, but it's kind of interesting to think about that once in a while. I've been through my fair share of like time split, timeline, time loop kind of adventures and such in the past.
それこそ年寄り連中がもうやっとれんねあの世に退散するわいうくらいにな。
な、死んだおじいちゃんの話？
あほんたれ誰がじいさまの話をしたんよ。ほれお手伝いさん言って縁側のお茶を片付けさせてくれな。
へいへい、了解了解。
ミオン。
ん？
北条聡が消えた日、お前私に詰め寄ったろが。
ああ、そんなこともしたね。
あたしゃな、あれで目が覚めたんよ。北条家がどうのこうのいう問題は年寄り連中が死ねば時間が解決してくれるなんてんじゃあかんね。そんなの待たずはよう解決せんとなあかん。
でも自分にはそれができないからよそ者にそれを託す。
それがあたしにできる精一杯だね。
I mean, that's exactly what happened in chapter 7, but is that really the best that you were able to do? You couldn't have done like some control damage, saying, you know what, just don't think about Satoko in that bad light. Just let her be. Forgiveness and all that. No? Was it really necessary?
どんな悪い手札だって次のドローでいい札が入れば流れが変わるきっかけになることもある。それに期待して山から札を引くのもありかもしれない。
新しい風はミオ、お前らの世代になる。外の風を迎え入れたれな。そしてお前は内からの風となって混じり合いながら村のよどみを吹き飛ばしてくれ。
他力本願の極みだね。自分が火種を作ったくせに孫にその尻拭いをさせるとは。
Yeah, I mean, when Mion puts it like that, in similar fashion to how I was thinking, it's kind of bullshit, isn't it?
そういいなや。新しい風を新しい園崎家の当主として村に招き入れたれ。
それが次期当主の仕事だってんなら
頼むわミオン。あたしゃ置いたね。もう憎まれ役しかできん。
The wind chimes sounded quietly. Maybe that's a sign to let us know a cool breeze is on the way. Yeah, I guess. I'm just saying, even if you had to protect your image of being the bad person until the end, I still think you could have apologized and given the apology to Satoko like earlier, and thus make it a little bit easier during chapter 7. Or you could have made Mion like the leader, like much earlier, and thus we would have been able to solve the problem easier, but Mion is still young, so yeah, I guess. I'm just spilling bullcrap right over here. Okay. Lot for sale. Piece number 33. Oh wait. Speaking of two girls with long hair playing in the fields, I don't know what to do. My name is Ichiro Maebara, and I am hopelessly lost.
Wait, is that the name of the father?
I think some of you viewers have told me like the name of the parents, which I forgot. But it's kind of interesting that it's not really brought up that much. Like, some of the parents' names are just so like they're never being told. I came to Hinamizawa on a tour to find a lot for our vacation home. When the realtor finished explaining some details, he told us to take a walk until the departure time. Such beautiful scenery and fresh air. I let my senses guide me, and here I am. Where am I? I still have a little time before the departure. I am completely lost. This is basically the middle of nowhere, but people who actually do live here. If I keep walking, I should run into somebody, and I can ask for directions. Don't worry. Don't worry. The only thing I need to keep in mind is the departure time for the bullet train. But the more time passes, the more I start to think I was being too optimistic about running into somebody. Because I can't find anybody at all. Maybe I'm walking farther and farther away from where people are, in which case I'm in serious trouble. So upon hearing somebody's voice, I feel immensely relieved. It sounds like little girls are playing nearby. If it's a place where little kids can play, it must be a safe village. I follow those footsteps. I follow those voices. Oh. Upon rounding the wild pampas grass, I can see a beautiful field. This is a new background. Two girls are playing there. They're dancing in the field filled with blooming wildflowers. What I'm seeing is more beautiful than all the great works of art I've ever seen put together. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but this looks holier than any religious painting. Why is that seeing innocent girls dance around like this makes people feel this way? It's probably because we're sinners. You can't live with pleasure and glory alone. With sin, even as we live. And that's why we feel awed by the sight of innocence. It reminds us of the time when we were pure. We grow up naturally and we lose innocence as we do. And we admire and adore the children who symbolize that which we've lost.
Me.
とかなんとか小難しいことを言いながら変な不審者が僕たちをじっと見ていますのです。はあ。リカ、あれは不審者ではありませんのです。
Eh? Sorry. I'm not suspicious. I'm not a creep.
とか言いながら僕のお胸やお足から目が離せないのです。
Eh?
みぱ
No, I'm not. Don't turn me in. I really wasn't staring. I was using this mirror to fix my hair. Yeah, that's right.
何言ってるかわかんないのですが、とっても面白いことを言っている気がしますのです。なんというか、血は争えないという気がしますです。
Okay, clearly Rika is talking this way, knowing full well who this person is, and he's referring to Keiichi as well. And she's teasing him. The girls teased me for a while, and when they got tired of doing that, they went back to dancing around. Realizing that whatever I said would backfire, I decided to leave them alone and sat down to watch them play. Yeah, again, okay, well, I guess this basically confirms what I was talking about before. Are they talking about Rika and Hanyu? Yeah, apparently so. The two girls that Keiichi's father saw that day. Or was it the day they moved in? Like, that's what I thought. It was the day they moved in. But no, it's basically here. Or is it both times? It could be that he has seen the two of them here, and they also saw the two of them like in the future as well when they moved in, like both times. But bottom line, I guess it basically confirms that, yeah, he saw the two of them. But how? The father is the only one, like, besides Rika, who can see her? And Rika apparently is not surprised by that. Hanyu is basically not surprised by that. Or, well, from the dialogue, it didn't look like Hanyu knew that the father saw her, that is able to see her. Only he knows. I wonder how old they are. They seem rather young, but maybe they could be close to Keiichi's age. If we move here, Keiichi might meet them at school. If you would see them at school, then they were girls that lived here. If all the children in Hinamizawa are like them, then even if living a rural life may have some challenges, there's a good reason for us to move here. We are not very good parents. We didn't understand what Keiichi was going through, and left him alone until the very end. According to the parenting book I bought, the first few problems are calls for help. It doesn't matter what the action itself is, but the fact that those actions are occurring is a primitive appeal from the child seeking communication. Humans can't speak, and that's one of the reasons why we don't notice such signs. We can only hear words through our ears, and we can't sense the signs coming from our son's heart. Keiichi probably thinks it's all his fault. Of course, he is not absent of blame. Humans aren't dogs or cats. We should know what's right and what's wrong. But it's our fault too, as his parents. To let him think that he had to go to that far for us to be able to understand him is really pathetic and disappointing of us. If we had understood him and hadn't cornered him, Keiichi wouldn't have done that. So the incidents weren't only Keiichi's fault. Everyone in the Maibara family was to blame. I want to explain that to him. He is still too young and hard-headed to be able to understand. Right now, the guilt he's feeling is basically crushing him under its weight. He doesn't even have the will to live. But damn! You're saying he doesn't even have the will to... Oh, Jesus. My wife is the same. She's blaming herself for forcing him to study for better grades. She thinks that's why the incidents took place. I mean, let's not exaggerate here. It's not as if Keiichi is that suicidal. At least, as far as I saw. Jesus. And I'm no different. I'm blaming myself for not being involved in my son's education. I think that's why the incidents took place. The cross will be forever on our shoulders, even after the injured child accepts our apologies. Yet our cold society would tell us to die under the weight of that cross. Even so, we have to live. We have to accept our sins and carry our burdens on our shoulders. Maybe we can start a new life here in this village. I thought about all that as I watched the girls dance. Keiichi needs friends like them. Friends like those girls will offer him so much more than the friends who only talked about cram scores and exam results. True? These girls are far more preoccupied with other stuff other than exams and such. That's for sure. The girls are playing near a sign that doesn't fit into this open field. It's a sign about lots for sale, and the name of the realtor who brought me here for the tour is written on it. Does that mean we can live even in this beautiful area if we want to? One of the girls spoke, as if reading my mind.
ここはいい村なのですよ。きっと都会にはなかったものがあるのです。
Yeah, that's right. I think so too.
でもこの村にないものをきっと都会のあなたが持ってきてくれる気がするのです。
Do we have anything?
ありますのですよ。僕たちはこの村で何百年間もこうしています。そこには誰も訪れず何も起こりませんです。だから何も起きないし何も変えられない。
Isn't that what's good about this place?
何かを変わりたいと思うからこの村に来たのじゃないのですか？
Yeah, you're right about that.
僕たちも新しい人を迎えたい。それは例えるなら水の流れ出ぬ沼の堰を破るようなもの。水は出入りがあるからこそ清水となる。確かにこの村は明治のついこの間まで沼の名前がついた村でしたのです。でもそれが変わりひなみ沢という地名に変わりましたのです。沼の水は流れずよどむ。でも沢の水はよどまない。
それにね、あなたたちが教えてくれるのよ。堰は破れるものだ、破るものだってね。
Are they playing riddles with me? I have no idea what they're trying to say. But there's one thing I know. The villagers are waiting for new people to come here, and they want to build a future with those newcomers. I looked at the sign behind the girls one more time, so that I remembered this place. I've already decided.
引っ越してくるのを待っていますですよ、前原。
ああ、いたいた、お客さん。こんな遠くまで行ったらダメですよ。
A raspy voice from the distance sounded this innocent man. It's the realtor. I guess he's been looking for me because I didn't return. Yeah. Well, you know, besides the creep factor that one would imagine from a scenario like this, I guess it is understandable that the first thing that the father would draw once coming here would be these two girls playing in the fields. They surely made quite an impression on him. I mean, to the point where this is probably like the most important piece of art in this person's life. Like, this is quite a change, what he has done here to move here. And it's because of these two girls. Sorry about that. I got lost. I apologize while scratching my head. I turned around to look for the girls, but they weren't there anymore. Duh. The next one is Ariakey. There he is.
Ko これが学校なのかよ。すげえな。さすが田舎だな。
Keiichi, don't say stuff like that. The people in this area love coming here. That was my first impression of the Hinamizawa brand school. No matter how I look at it, it doesn't look like a school at all. Even it has a sign that says Hinamizawa Forestry Service. Yeah.
まあ確かに
Oh hey, it's the goat of the school.
我が校は営林署さんの敷地をお借りしておりますからの
Said the man they called the principal as he left heartily.
学び屋は違っても学校であることは同じです。前原くんがこれまで通われていた学校とはいろいろルールが違うと思いますが、大丈夫ですか？
はい。
I heard all the grades are put in the same classroom at the school. I didn't believe it, but I think it really is true. They're all younger than I am, so I guess it'll be like kindergarten. Though it'll be interesting compared to my previous school where everyone looked the same age.
前原くんが転校してきたら、男子の中では最年長になると思います。
Jesus.
ですので、自分の勉強だけでなく、下級生たちの模範になるよう示さなければなりません。下級生は上級生の悪い癖をすぐに真似します。
Which, you know, it is interesting thinking about this because I was confused about it like half an hour ago at some point. I kind of wanted to, like, when we were talking about the classroom with all the ages, like all the kids of different ages and such. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it that this village has like 2,000 people in it? That's a lot of people. And we only have like this school. Granted, it could be that most of the kids would end up like moving to the Okinomiya school. I guess that would be like the explanation for that, but really? Oh.
先生もそこは厳しく注意していますから、前原くんも下級生に悪い影響を与えないよう常に襟を正していてくださいね。
Because I'm conflicted on either calling this like a small village or a big village. And I don't know if I'm pulling that number like 2000, like that number out of my ass or something like that. Or if it's real. I think I've seen it somewhere. Guys, I think that my memory is at its worst in this final chapter of the story. Quote unquote final chapter. I'm running on fumes right here. My brain is mush. I don't know what to think anymore. We gotta end the story soon.
わかりました。努力します。
Keiichi. What she means is that textbooks aren't the only things you learn from. As a member of the class and also as an older student, you have to be a good example. I know that already. After that, Chie-sensei brought us to an empty classroom and showed me where my desk would be. Since we're all still growing, I'm sure our sizes are very different. There are some desks that are way too small for me to even put my legs on them, and also some that are just perfect for me. There are approximately 30 desks in there, but since all the different grades are in the same room, I'm sure it's very lively. There's also a wall full of calligraphy and art from different grades. It's all pretty exciting, nothing like my previous school. It reminds me of the days when I truly enjoyed my school life.
父さん、俺気に入ったよ。やっぱり町の学校よりこっちの学校の方がいいや。
I think my son likes it here. I want him to go to this school too.
そうですか。沖宮の学校の方が設備もちゃんとしていますし、立派な先生方もたくさんおられますのに。
Even while saying that, Shin-sensei looked happy to hear that a new student would be transferred into her class. My father and the teachers went back to the teacher's office to get the transfer process going. In the meantime, I decided to stay in the classroom and look around. I didn't care about the move. I'd lost the will to live because of what I did. I didn't have any willpower, and I couldn't even get out of bed. So when my parents told me about a move, I thought that wouldn't change anything. Jesus. Am I misremembering like the backstory that was told in chapter 6 with Keiichi and his past? Of how he shot like kids in the eyes with like the BB gun and such? I mean, he had a rough time and all that, but was he that suicidal as well? I mean, unless one were to say that having no will to live and being suicidal are somewhat different, but at the same time, I don't know. But after the move, something did change. I mean, the thing that I didn't understand was that Keiichi was broken because of that. That's for sure. That's something that I can agree with, but I want to restart my life. I want to restart my life and become someone I've always wanted to be. Here in Hinamizawa and at school, I can do that. I'm not going back to who I was. I'll never again think that good grades are the most important thing in this world. I have a feeling that I can learn the things that are really important in life here at this school. I never had the chance to learn them before now. It's almost embarrassing to put into words, but they're extremely valuable things, and if you don't learn them, you won't become a decent adult. The students at the school learned them a long time ago. To them, they are a given, yet I have to spend time learning about them at this age. How to make friends, how to play with friends, to play, things you can only learn from play, things like socializing with others, etc., etc. It seems so easy. It'll take me a while to learn them. I pushed those things aside and devoted myself to studying. I'm not trying to say studying isn't important, but you shouldn't become blinded by it. If someone says studying and good grades are the most important things in life, it's talking bullshit. So I can restart my life here at this school. Finally, I can become someone I've always wanted to be. I noticed two girls looking at me through the window. The schoolyard must also be a playground for these children, because I saw a lot of them playing there earlier. I guess those two noticed me walking around the classroom and became curious. I guess that's natural. I'm a stranger to them. Should I say hello and let them know that I'm starting school next Monday?
ようやく引っ越してきたのです。僕は待ち疲れたのですよ。はあ。でも、これでまた変わってくるのです。
Oh my god. Even Keiichi sees that.
だって圭一はサイコロの6なのですから。6ではありますですが、圭一の振るサイコロは1がよく出上がりますです。
It is interesting. Like, Keiichi sees Hanyu in this as well?
はあ、圭一が悪いわけではありませんのです。
Because he said those two, so clearly he is seeing Hanyu.
全部羽生が悪いのです。お前のせいなのです。圭一に謝れなのです。
俺の名前を知ってるのか？
She said my name, didn't she? Did I hear her wrong? I've never met her before.
ニッパー、転校生なのですか？
ああ、よろしくな。前原圭一ってんだ。今度の月曜から来ることになると思うぜ。仲良くしてくれよな。
はあ、仲良くしましょうなのです。圭一に古出神社の巫女さんがありがたいお告げなのです。転校初日は教室の扉が鬼門なので入るときは注意なのです。あと椅子の背中に画鋲、机の中にはカエルのおもちゃまで入ってます。で も何度警告しても圭一は何度でも引っかかるのです。月曜日はかわいそうなのです。
だから面白いのだけれど、たまにはそんな運命も打ち破ってみて。あなたがそれを教えてくれるのよ。あまたの世界の一つでね。
は？
I'll be reminded of the prophecy made by the two girls next Monday, because of the actions of a snaggle-toothed girl. I'll realize it too late though. But I like it here. My name is Keiichi Maebara, and this is my new beginning, and this time I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. I've been missing out on so much, but I'm going to learn all those things here. I'm going to absorb all of it, and I'll become someone I've always wanted to become. It may take a very long time, but I'll definitely do it. Nice. But okay, what am I to conclude here when it comes to Hanyu and being seen by not only the father, but Keiichi as well? I guess you could say that, okay, Hanyu has decided, you know what, if everybody believes in the miracle, then I'm gonna try harder to believe in that miracle as well. The declaration of war that was made between Hanyu and Takano, like at the beginning of connecting these fragments. So, would that mean that, okay, she believes, therefore now she's being able to be seen by everybody? So, now we're gonna have a fragment where everybody is able to see Hanyu, and thus Hanyu is gonna be able to help everybody, like, much easier in that way. So, is that the timeline slash fragment that we're gonna go through? Like, this is like the rarest fragment where Keiichi sees Hanyu for the first time as if it's a natural thing? Maybe, I guess that could be it. Because otherwise in the past, it was just a Rika. Okay, next piece is June 1983, piece 41. June 1983, okay. How many of these fragments? Okay, we finished like a lot of these so far. We only have like these last ones. Fragment of Hinatsu Onikakushi Tataku. Okay, well these are clearly quite different. These are gonna be the last ones. Okay. With this, do I have all the pieces lined up for 1983? Are we actually finished? Sure is a hard and exhausting job just lining up the pieces for the month of June. But finally, I'm at the starting line. Beginning from zero, at last. Yet, seeing all these colorful fragments together, I realized just how many sentiments were intertwined around June 1983. I used to think that thoughts of people with no relation to me were useless. But I was wrong. Rika Furuta did her best to overcome the fate of June 1983. She did two things. One was to get in touch with the Ariakey Institute, because she knew she would be protected there. Ironically, Takano from the Ariakey Institute was the one who wanted to kill her, but it was the best move for her at the time. And the other was to ensure that the Maebara family moved to Hinamizawa. And actually it wasn't certain that the Maebara family would move here. They first decided to move here when the father felt something sentimental at the sight of us on the day he came to view the properties for sale. Therefore, it was necessary for us to play in that field. It was the trigger for the Maebara family's move. And it took me so long to find it out though. After turning various conditions on and off repeatedly, I finally realized that meeting Keiichi's father at that field was the cause. I guess so. It was something natural, because it is as Rika said. Out of all the fragments that she has gone through, only 2 of them were timelines / fragments where Keiichi was non-existent in Hinamizawa. So, of all the things that Rika has tested out throughout her years of going through this, like, this common thing that happened, of them playing in the field, that happened in every single fragment, was the cause. And for, like, Keiichi to be here. Or, maybe the best way to put it is that this cause right over here is the most important thing. Keiichi is the most important. She hasn't realized that for a very long time. She has realized it, like, later, that, oh, maybe this new boy that came in is gonna be the key to solving all this, and she hasn't realized this. And I guess at some point she decided to test it out. What if it didn't come to this field, like, once or twice, and thus Rika had those sad fragments where Keiichi didn't come here? Keiichi Maebara is a very important key for breaking Rule C, one of the chains that was binding me. He is the fresh air that's powerful enough to break all the old and evil customs in this village. He created many opportunities, but he also provided me with an important clue by letting me know that a strong conviction and the will to believe is what's important in standing up against a powerful fate. But I wasn't the only one who wanted him here. People in the Sonozaki family who wanted to wipe out the nastier traditions of the village also wished for him. Mion Sonozaki vowed to herself to protect Satoko and Satoshi because she was very much bothered by how irrational the treatment of the Hojo family was. And on the night of Satoshi Hojo disappeared, she exploded at Oryo Sonozaki and voiced her true feelings. Oryo Sonozaki understood. Oryo herself had come to understand the wicked customs of the village, and had been wanting to do something about it. Oh. Okay. I guess it makes sense. This is the starting point for Oryo thinking, huh, maybe I was wrong. Like, seeing such a sad, like, tear-driven Mion Sonozaki exploded her because of Satoshi's disappearance had made Oryo turn a new leaf. Like, before, she was like, you know what, screw all of them, including Satoko and Satoshi. But from this point onwards, maybe, like, she turned a new leaf and felt disgusted about herself, about at the very least feeling that way about Satoko and Satoshi, who have literally done nothing. Like, why should these poor kids go through such sadness? And granted, I still am gonna go with the idea that maybe she should have apologized even without Keiichi being the one to push like all the way, but she didn't have the power to do so herself, so she entrusted it to the fresh air that was blowing in from the outside. How could she not have the power to do so? I don't know. That was why the lots went out for sale, so the Maebara family could move in. I mean, when you say it like that, that's why the lots went on sale, so the Maebara family could move in. Even if I were to say that maybe she could have just apologized to Satoko and all that, and, you know, have the village ease, like, their eyes on Satoko and maybe help her a little bit. On the flip side, I am grateful that it is because of this turning point that Oryo decided to put the fields on sale, because otherwise we wouldn't have Keiichi. So I should be grateful to her. Even if I danced in that field, if Oryo hadn't put the lots on sale, Keiichi couldn't have come. So I guess we can thank Mion for that, and Ren Ariakey, who provided many important opportunities for Keiichi Maebara, was saved by returning to Hinamizawa after the deep emotional trauma of her parents' divorce sent her into terminal condition. Keiichi Maebara's wish to restart his life was the same wish Ren Ariakey had a year prior. Maybe that's why Rena was able to understand Keiichi. It's like the miracle where one can recognize moments in a certain fragment from another fragment. If they can use the lessons learned from one fragment, then humans won't make those mistakes. The game pieces will make their best moves, and the chances of winning this game of June 1983 will rapidly increase. In other words, Ren Ariakey makes extremely important moves on this game board without realizing it. The mighty rule Z that surrounded the Hojo siblings was eventually smashed by their actions. Of course, Satoko overcoming herself was also a big help. Their hands met only because they reached from both sides. Keiichi and Rena are the ones who taught me that. Mion is the one who made it possible for them to move here, and she also helped them to become familiar with the village. That's not all. Irie is also an important piece with significant functions in this home. Feeling empathy for Satoko, he's the most influential piece of the board we call Hinamizawa Syndrome. His existence is capable of defeating Rule X. I'm gonna have to apologize. I know that the rules were talked about at the beginning of, I think it was chapter 7, right? Yeah, chapter 7, I think. Yeah. And I don't remember them, my bad. Keiichi and Rena's determination and subsequent awakening taught us that it was possible to fight against Rule X, but they didn't defeat it. Defeating Rule X requires the existence of Irie, who has the strong will to discover the cure for the syndrome. I didn't know Irie held this many thoughts within him. I always thought he was rather absent-minded, but he is in fact an important and powerful piece. So if we gather all this power, can we win against Takano's will? I've seen Takano's thoughts too. Sadly, her will is strong and can't be easily broken. It's no wonder our fate in June 1983 has been so hard to shake no matter how hard we fought. The sentiments I've been turning towards it pale in comparison to how many she's brought into it. The weight of our game pieces are different, because I've given up on fighting while she has been risking her life to fight on. I've spent time sulking and drinking wine to escape from reality. I must be a very light piece indeed. I can't win against Takano with what I have so far. I need more pieces to be able to win. The officer Oishi once showed the possibility of becoming a strong ally, but he is under the misunderstanding that the Sonzaki family caused the death of his dear friend. So until that gets resolved, he won't be of any help. I don't know how I can resolve that misunderstanding, but I just have to believe in it and keep throwing the die. Just like Keiichi and Rena constitute a chance to change fate, maybe Akasaka has the power to create a chance as well. Yeah, right. But yeah, joking aside, like, I think that with Rena and Keiichi, in ways that I cannot explain it's not probably going to be explained, I think they're going to be fine in the sense that they know what they're going to do, even if they feel like they've experienced this before, but they have not experienced it in this timeline, but they know what to do. I mean, that's why Keiichi was so good at this stuff to change things in chapter 7 and 6 to help Rena, Satoko and all that. And Rena has given like hints that she has felt this thing from other timelines about Keiichi, who has helped. But besides that, the only thing that we have to worry, because I think that we're going to be resuming to our current fragment once we're done with these fragments and all that. We're going to be resuming our story where we're going to have to do things again, and I don't know what that will entail. Would it be possible that we could have a start where Satoko doesn't have to go through this again, like through the abuse again? I mean, it would be nice if she could just gain the memories of the previous fragment of chapter 7 and don't have to go through like the abuse again. My stomach is hurting right now. Hold on. Do I need to go to the bathroom right now or? Okay, I think I'm gonna be good. Like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom like later. So let's hope that Satoko has gained some of the stuff that she has learned in a previous chapter, which would mean that the one thing that we need to do is to let Irie know what is going on with Takano and all that, know what is going on behind the scenes, because clearly he doesn't. Possibly let Tomitake learn, maybe, hopefully, and maybe even change his fate and not have him die. Make Oishi understand that Sonozaki is not the main enemy, but it is Takano and the Mountain Dogs. And what else? I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I don't think that Akasaka is going to be any important, so we're going to leave that out of the way. Of course, I'm joking about that. Of course, I'm just going with a running gag right over here, so bear with me. Who else? I feel like there are some other important characters that I cannot think of, but we're gonna think about that later. A curse can't be broken by inner power, though. It takes power from outside as well. Both sides have to reach out. Otherwise the hands won't meet, just like what happened with Satoko. But Akasaka has never come to our aid. Even if he did, it was always too late. Too late. Far too late. But if I keep throwing the die, will Akasaka's game piece eventually appear? The final rule, Rule Y, involves the evil masterminds who are using Takano as their own game piece. To defeat them, I need a very strong opponent for her. And the only one I can think of is none other than Akasaka from the police headquarters in Tokyo. That's right, hold on a second. Involves the evil masterminds who are using Takano as their own game piece. I guess we are learning right now that there is actually somebody above Takano who is much more evil. Yeah, I guess so. Like, you would think that Takano is the one who have fought most of the stuff, but no, apparently there's somebody who has influenced Takano into reaching this kind of route of destroying the village. There are more pieces who will lend me their power. I need to gather them all, otherwise I can't win against Takano. The preparation of the game board is complete, but I need more pieces. It's only the beginning. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Because the next pieces are like Himatsubushi, Onikakushi, Tsumiya, a lot of pieces right over here. Like the next one, for example, would be Himatsubushi Hen's piece. Piece number 43. Like this one. Hold on a second. Fragment of Mitsubishi. I'm reading something here like in the guide that's interesting. Like, these are not the only pieces left. I think there are going to be like new pieces coming soon, but for right now, we're going to read Himatsubushin. Like, how big are these fragments? This piece is the only one that's so distorted. That's because it's from long before June 1983. Ah, yeah, that's right. Chapter 4. Therefore, the existence of this piece has no effect whatsoever in the game we're playing on this board. But is this really a useless piece? The identity of Route Y has been completely exposed by now. With the backing of a mighty organization, it is powerful enough to swallow up the small solidarity of individuals. I almost gave up on this game because of its irrational power. And that's why I'm thinking that maybe there's a piece hidden somewhere that's strong enough to fight against such a formidable enemy. Mamoru Akasaka works at the police headquarters in Tokyo. Tokyo as in, the city. Might have the power to stand up to such a vast conspiracy. Can his power withstand even Route Y? Just like Keiichi Maebara defeated Route Z, will he be able to defeat Route Y so easy? I mean, okay, joking aside with the running gag that Akasaka has disappointed me on all that, like, bringing him, joking aside, would Akasaka alone be able to go against such a powerful organization? Because that's what it is implied right over here. We need everyone's strength. So Akasaka's strength is needed as well. Okay. So these are gonna be really, really short. Short fragments. That's nice. What a nice change of pace. For me to read a very short fragment. / short chapter. The story has been going on for 3 years at this point, folks. For me. In order for Keiichi Maebara to become a game piece that can lead everyone, there's something he has to learn about first. The piece that's very painful, pitiful, and sad. He has to learn about his friends, and he has to learn to not doubt them. He doesn't know the importance of trusting his friends. He doesn't know just yet. A slight mistrust grows into paranoia, and Keiichi Maebara is trapped within Route X. At the end of Route X, Keiichi leaves a sad note and dies. While it may be very bitter and very painful, it also puts him through the process of learning something very important. Which, I did bring up the comments and, talking with you guys and all that about Keiichi, how he has reached such terminal stages that quickly in comparison to others who understandably would reach terminal stages like Shion and Arena and all that. Keiichi is quite an interesting case that he would be able to, that he would reach this kind of terminal stage. But maybe it's because at times it really makes you feel like Keiichi wouldn't be such a depressed fuck. But okay, he has gone through his rough patches before coming to Hinamizawa, what with the way he was raised, studying and being a soulless shell, just going after grades, and after a while just shooting people with BB guns to the point where he would be broken by this. So I guess, despite his explosive personality and talking about Russian porn or something like that, he is quite susceptible to quite a sad state to the point where he had such a special quick case where he would reach terminal stage that quickly in chapter 1. It's insane. I mean, I'm not saying that it completely comes out of nowhere, because he never really had that deep of a friendship before coming to Hinamizawa, so he didn't know. And he never really learned, up until coming to Hinamizawa, he never really learned how to be friends with somebody, which would include like the hardships that he went through. And only now we're reaching a point where he has to trust his friends, like no matter what. But up until then, he had quite a lot of paranoia because of the stuff that happened in chapter 1. So it's quite interesting. I feel like the craziest thing that I've heard, like most unbelievable thing that I've heard, is this one thing where I don't even remember where it was told in the story. I feel like it was told by a viewer mostly. I never seen this before, but it was when he went to a funeral, and because of that he just died. Which is weird. Like, what happened there? It's weird. Hey, Hanyu, you didn't have to apologize. In a few days, he left Hinamizawa to attend it. Okay, well, there you go. Speak of the devil. In a few days, he left Hinamizawa to attend his relative's funeral. Tragically, he experienced an outbreak. But I think this was necessary, as his first step towards learning something important. The very first step towards smoking out Root X, and eventually defeating it. Okay, so you're saying that this funeral that he attended and his outbreak there is actually important in this. When this piece was all I had, I didn't even think of that, no. Okay. I don't know, maybe one day I'll fully understand all the stuff, like after I finish this story, like on this channel, that is. One day. I'll understand like all the intricacies of Higurashi, and I won't be just an idiot who forgets a lot. Next is Tsumihoro Boshi, piece 45. This game piece has a very important meaning for us, because it showed us for the first time that it was possible to poke a hole in the fate of the June of 1983. To start from the conclusion, everything gets taken in by Route Y at the end, and all our effort is wasted. You know what? Hold on a sec. Let me search for something. Let me see these rules again, because I don't remember them. And okay, rule X. A random person in Hinamizawa succumbs to Hinamizawa syndrome and is driven to acts of violence by extreme levels of paranoia. Rule Y. Okay, Takejiro and Takano are killed on the night of the Watanagashi festival. That's rule Y. Okay. And rule Z. Everyone in Hinamizawa believes that the Sonsake family is responsible for the series of mysterious deaths. Okay, these are the rules. Okay, gotcha. I guess I need a little bit of refresher because I don't remember them. Everyone gets taken in by Rule Y at the end, and all our effort is wasted. Okay? But we're challenging the great law that governs this game board, Rule X, head on. We're using everything we've learned so far from the other fragments, which prove we can defeat it. Yeah, that's right. Let's hope that the next time that we're going to be starting this, or resuming this, Rika may be able to remember that Takano is the one who actually killed her, and thus she's gonna reach the conclusion that Takano doesn't actually die, like by the end of Watanagashi festival, and thus we can sort of change Rule Y or something. Because up until this point, she couldn't remember like her last moments of death. So let's hope that this time we can, because if we were to learn that Takano did not die, that would be huge for the kids. We grow by learning. In a game with no hope of winning, we can discover a slight chance of victory. This piece taught us that. With this game piece, Road X was almost completely defeated. Keiichi Maibara and our other friends won't be led astray by something as pathetic as the Hinamizawa syndrome and dance and tragedy any longer. That is true. I mean, honestly, it really feels kind of impossible to think that Keiichi or Rena or Shion would once again reach like those terminal stages again in this fragment. They're gonna be at their best in this, so I don't think that we have to worry about the Hinamizawa syndrome impeding us, at least in this. I mean, let's hope that Satoko doesn't have to go through that again, and she's at her peak in this, too. It has also told us that the rules aren't indestructible and are possible to overcome. In other words, it has given us, the ones who are on the outside of the game board, hope. Because if Rika and the rest were to remember that Takano is the one who killed them, that would mean that we could change Rule Y. And Rule Z, where like people believe that the Sonozaki family is the one responsible for the mysterious deaths, that is basically one of our missions, to make Oishi help us. And by that I mean trying to make him understand that it's not the Sonozakis, it's Takano and like the secret organization. Well, kinda. Again, we have learned that the mysterious deaths have been like a mix of everything. One was because of the Hinamizawa syndrome itself, one was because Satoko did kill her parents, one was because Takano and the Mondogs were responsible for the deaths of Rika's parents. Satoshi, he disappeared. You see, Satoshi's like fate has been left vague, apparently. Of all the things that we have learned a lot in this, his fate has been left vague still. Because we don't know if he died, we don't know if he went through dissection, like pure dissection, or what? Or what did Takano and the Mondogs do with Satoshi? Or what did Irie do with Satoshi? We don't know that yet. But bottom line, we have to make Oishi and the village. Wait, the village? We have to make everybody understand that it's not as simple as it being responsible by Sonozakis. Alright. Okay, next is Watanagashi, which would be this. Yeah, they're gonna be like in order. And this game piece reminds us that no matter what happens on this game board, everything is due to the curse of the Sonozaki family pulling some strings. No, to put it in my words, this is the piece that makes everyone aware of the existence of Rule Z. It's hard to notice with just this piece, but this is a complicated fragment where Shion Sonozaki, while trapped in Rule X and mistaking it for Rule Y, is hurled about, comes to notice the existence of Rule Z. But this is also the piece that teaches us the rules of the game board. By the way, the piece called Shion Sonozaki is a piece coming from the outside, from the game's point of view. She dislikes Sotoko Hojo at first, but through this and another piece, she learns something important. Challenges Rule X, and then grows to be a powerful piece to fight Rule Z. The most ridiculous part of this fragment is that it's hidden so cunningly and doesn't seem that way at all with just a passing glance. Learn from your mistakes. Please become a powerful piece and lend me your strength to defeat my enemies. Okay. Next is gonna be Miyakashi. This is the piece of Shion Sonozaki, who goes mad after being taken in by Rule X. With no room for sympathy, this is such a painful piece that one can only have pity. It distinctly identifies the keyhole of the padlock called Rule Z. Keiichi Maebara becomes a key himself to pry open this padlock. And as Mion Sonozaki wished for, he becomes a wind that clears out the stagnant air filling the village. And this piece also teaches us an important lesson. Shion Sonozaki learns through this piece, and then becomes a strong ally for Satoko Hojo. In that way, maybe Satoko Hojo is a piece that represents the padlock for Rule Z. Unless she is saved, Rule Z can't be defeated. And when she is saved, that means Rule Z is defeated. Really? This piece indicates only that. That's the only thing Shion Sonozaki learned by gambling her life. Cause I don't know, like, you know, you could say, okay, Shion has learned her lessons and she decides to protect Satoko for the sake of Satoshi and all that. But what about her thoughts about it, like all these deaths being done by the Sonozaki? What would change that? What would make her think like, oh, it's not the Sonozakis, it's something else entirely? Wouldn't it be that we have to make it so that she understands as well? Not just Oishi, but she? I mean, I guess everybody. Everybody has to learn about this sort of stuff. And I don't know, I guess since Shion is all buddy-buddy with Satoko and all that, that means that she's all buddy-buddy with everybody. So it's not it's not a difficult thing to do to sit all the kids in one room and for Rika to tell them, okay, this is what is happening. This is actually the truth and you're gonna believe this. It's not a Sonozaki's, it's something else. And Shion will be like, oh, I guess I was wrong this entire time apparently. So like, unless she's saved, Rule Z can't be defeated. So you're saying that if Satoko were not to be saved from like the abuse coming from Teppei, I mean, I guess when Satoko, like the one remaining thing that reminds Shion of Satoshi, were to just die, then what is even the point for Shion to try to understand that it's to make any logical or rational thoughts like after her death? She wouldn't care. She's still gonna think that it's the Sonozakis. But if she were to continue to be saved, like, you know, and all that, she would think rationally. Like, as long as Satoko is alive, she would think rationally that it's not the Sonozakis. But if she dies, then that would make her think even more that it's the Sonozakis, irrationally as it may be. I feel like that's why they're saying that Satoko Hojo is the padlock for Rule Z. But no, I think that it's very important. Every time I see Satoko and Shion argue about pumpkins, I think about that. I don't know. Alright. Tatari Goroshi. This piece shows us the existence of the reasonable Rule Z surrounding Satoko, and reveals the most powerful adversary rule on the game board, Rule Y. Can the rules X, Y, and Z be seen? The enemy we need to fight, the things we need to learn, all are gathered and revealed here in this fragment. At this point, it's impossible to reach Rule Y. Fighting against Rule Z's effect on Satoko is the best that can be done. But in this piece, we make a mistake in our approach for fighting it. The outcome we gain through erroneous means is erroneous itself. Keiichi Maebara learned that through his own experiences. A tragedy doesn't possess the power to overcome tragedy. Violence doesn't possess the power to overcome violence. If they can grasp that, all the pieces on this game board will learn the true way to fight. But Takano is too powerful. The shocking end of this piece doesn't allow us to learn it that easily. Alright, next is Higurashi. The game piece that uncovers the invisible root Y that has been pulling the strings from the beginning. Because the impression of that is so strong, it's easy to forget about something very important. We can't forget that this piece also shows the path towards destroying Rule C. True. While Rikafu lamented Rule Z as impossible to defeat, it was hardly a match for Keiichi Maebara and the others once they learned everything they needed to. They knew the correct way to fight, and fought according to the rules of the game board. As a result, we win, and that fact is more valuable than anything for us. Keiichi Maebara taught me a lesson. There is no need to subject ourselves to any fate. The will to believe can defeat anything. The fate that I was always subjected to was created by Mio Takano's own conviction. So what he says is correct. To defeat her conviction, we need a stronger conviction of our own. A strong will can be pierced only by another stronger will. We defeated Rule X and Z, and then challenged the final rule, Rule Y. But we needed more pieces. I guess, like I'm gonna bring up Yumineko for a little bit right over here, so bear with me a little bit. It is interesting that this fight between certainty and miracle that we've seen, kinda, like in Yumineko, and we're seeing it right here, like in a different format. It is all a matter of strong will, just painted and defined in a different coat of paint. Who has the stronger will? The strong will to create a miracle that breaks fate? Or to have the strong will to do something with certainty as long as you have enough effort? Each piece fought at its best, but the strength of our enemy's pieces, led by Mio Takano, were just too powerful. She didn't even give us mercy. She squished us completely, and made us restart the game all over again. Although we lost, we didn't give up the resolve in our hearts. Because we finally found the true culprit, and also found a clue for how to fight against her. It's like you have a powerful enough enemy that no matter how many times you hit them, they're gonna stand up on their feet no matter what. They're never gonna budge. Versus the other opponent who, no matter how many times you're gonna hit them to the ground fully, they're always gonna pick themselves up. Like, it's that kind of feeling. We can't win with the pieces we have now. We don't have a powerful enough conviction or a strong enough will. But Hanyu and I will keep trying. We'll roll our die repeatedly, look for the greatest result, collect pieces, and try again. With a will stronger than Takano. Didn't you think of giving up several times before I got to this point? Well, you made it because you believed in me and followed me here. We're almost there. We can do it. Let's create the last piece. It'll be the ultimate piece, and we won't need anything else. The very last piece of all. Come on, let's collect the pieces. Let's collect miracles. Please give your hopes, desires, and dreams to me. And the last piece, kinda, there may be something out of this. After collecting miracles from all 7 fragments, I finally got a hold of this one. This fragment holds our final fate. But before we take a peek, please wait for just a little bit. The fate that's inside will be decided the moment we take a peek. Have I told you about the story of the cat in the box? No, I have never. What is that? Why is there a cat in a box? I've never heard of such a concept before. Is the cat in the box alive or dead? If you open the box, you'll know. But you won't know until you open it. It could be alive and it could be dead. In other words, before you open the box, The living cat and the dead cat simultaneously coexist. And the moment you open the box and find out the truth, the incorrect answer disappears. The inside of this fragment is the same principle. The future we desire and the future Takano desires simultaneously coexist. They are opposing and denying each other. Once we take a peek, one of those futures will disappear. If we have enough pieces, we can take a look inside this fragment. But we've only had the same pieces lined up the same way on the game board. And the game under the same condition was Takano's complete victory. We've already tried that in the Higurashi fragment. We need more pieces. We need the help of a piece that's powerful enough to defeat rule Y. Which was Takano and Tomitake quote-unquote dying at the end of the Watanagashi Festival. We need the help of a piece that's powerful enough to defeat rule Y. Which, like, it really makes me question because, you know, the existence, the origin of this power that Rika has of going through this loop like over and over, it hasn't been explained, and chances are that it's never going to be explained. So it kind of makes me question, what is it that's going to make Rika actually remember? Because that's the thing. And a part of me thinks that as long as you have like strong conviction, strong will, and everybody fights together with all their might, including Hanyu, they're gonna remember. Otherwise, they're just gonna keep forgetting, and rule Y is still gonna stand, just like that. Rika remembering this is the one thing that will break the rule, otherwise the rule is gonna stay the same. So now you're saying that there's actually a piece that's powerful enough to do so? Until I get a hold of that piece. It's too scary to take a peek inside this fragment. But how do I get such a piece? It's a piece I've never gotten a hold of before. To obtain it, I need to look just one more time. I need one more miracle to obtain that piece. Are we actually going to be able to do that, like right now? I mean, I followed the guide. I followed them in like the right order. Could we be able to do that? Yep, there you go. Leftover fragments. What is this? I never noticed this tiny little fragment. Sometimes a fragment gets cracked and it breaks. Just like how the fate we believe in cracks sometimes. A damaged fate is no longer the same fate it was. Then which fate does this piece belong to? I picked up the tiny fragment and tried to match it with the fragments I have in my hand. And the last fragment I picked was the Himatsubushi fragment. Himatsubushi? This fragment was distorted from the beginning. Look. See? This tiny piece fits perfectly. With this tiny fragment, how will the world change? What kind of miracle will occur? Himatsubushi. The whole world warped. Since I put the broken piece back where it belonged. The distortion centered on a crack. But that doesn't mean I can't take a peek inside. It's already past 1985. Oh, the future of Himatsubushi, like near the end. It's a time long after Rika Furuta and her friend's stories tragically ended in June 1983. It's the part where Akasaka and Oishi decided to work together to see what happened in 1983. Beep. Bzz. With some mild interference, an order crackled through their headsets.
全班へ室長からありがたいお言葉があるぞ。
ご苦労さん。
所轄署は15分くれることになってる。秒で制圧しろ。一人たりとも逃がすな。ターゲットの一人は外交官だ。警察だと悟られるな。有無を言わせず身柄を確保しろ。ただし間違っても危害を加えるな。外交問題に発展するぞ。
外交官特権で地元暴力団と癒着している芸道どもだ。
クソどもが。
Yeah, I guess it makes sense why you would censor by not even voice act that. Normally, this would be a simple case, what with the perpetrators being gangsters. But when the police found out that a foreign diplomat is involved, things got much more complicated all of a sudden. Okay, what is going on here? Like, what is this? Diplomats have diplomatic immunity, so the police can't arrest them. But they knew he was an important figure in the whole scheme. And there was no doubt that he was the middleman between the foreign criminal organization and the Japanese gangsters. They couldn't let him escape. It'd be easy to deport him, but that wouldn't solve anything. The police had asked the embassy for assistance, but they denied the request. And the case was put on a standstill at that point. And that's when they found out that the organization was going to be setting the Self-Defense Forces classified radar and missile technology secrets. Ooh. The Public Safety Division then had to move on the premise to protect this classified government information. And today was the day that operation was set to go.
正面は階段前に2人、地下入り口に2人、裏口に4人、全員体重の可能性大。普段より2人多いな。あの人にとっちゃ2秒余計にかかるだけさ。容赦ねえからな、あの人。
聞こえるか、赤坂。お前が切り込み隊長だ。用心してかかれ。よし、開始し。
赤坂了解。作戦を開始する。
Okay. A man suddenly appeared around the corner downtown. He was Akasaka. He displayed none of the naivete that he did when he first met Rika. When he got to the entrance of the underground club, a bouncer with a heavy foreign accent stopped him. Alright, well, let's see. I hope he won't disappoint us again.
ここ、会員制。お兄さん、会員証ある？
Akasaka pulled a card out after being asked. It was a card that was very difficult to forge, so they could only get one. As the man on point, he was the one to receive it. The bouncer let Akasaka in after confirming he had a membership card. Okay.
赤塚さん、地上の護衛突破。地下階段を降りてます。
頼むぞ、赤坂。
At the bottom of the staircase, there was an overly decorated door like the ones you'd see at a high-class club. The venomous glow of the cocktail lights lit up, soundly warning everyone it was an entrance to a den of evil. Okay, this is probably going to be like the most random comment that I'm making right over here. But with this talk of going past the bouncer and all that, it made me think of Yakuza. And I haven't played the Yakuza, because right now I'm going through Yakuza Kiwami 2, and I haven't played that in a while. And I want to continue it one day. I don't know why, it just made me think of that.
いらっしゃいませ。会員証を拝見いたします。
Also, another really random comment right over here. I don't know why I'm talking about this like right now during the heat of the action, but I watched Lucky Stars for the first time, like recently. And there were some episodes, like in the later stages of the season, like where apparently Daisuke Ono decided to show up like near like the Lucky Channel segment, the end of the episodes. Just cause, I guess. I guess they wanted Daisuke Ono to be like a part of those couple of segments at the end of the episodes. Why not? That surely surprised me. The guard at the entrance took the membership card and put it through the card reader on the wall. Beep, an error sound. Slight perspiration could be seen on Akasaka's forehead. The guard swiped the card a couple of times more. Beep, beep.
赤塚さん、手間取ってます。
まさかカードの認証が変えられたか。赤坂にトラブルが発生したら作戦変更するぞ。赤坂の安全を速攻で確保しろ。
The expression on the guard with him steadily grew dour. His right hand reached inside of his jacket, probably fingering his gun. Ding. The buzzer suddenly rang with a delightful tone, and the card reader flashed a green light. Oh, okay. Immediately after that, the lock on the door opened up.
お待たせしました。どうぞお通りください。
Unless, like, either the card reader was having, like, a technical issue, or somebody has let Akasaka in, knowing that Akasaka is not supposed to be here. They know. Maybe. I don't know. So, the guard pulled his hand out of his jacket and opened up the heavy door. That's why there was, like, a delay right over there. The card reader was green right over there because somebody else let him inside. Loud music and flashing colorful lights spill out from the inside. From within that, a well-dressed guard appeared to welcome Akasaka. At this moment, his first mission was accomplished. Having acted as the go signal for the remaining units, Akasaka was also in the dangerous position of being in enemy territory all by himself. The door was the biggest obstacle for the ambush. The door locked automatically, so whenever it was closed, it was also sealed that way. It was a solid door, and nearly impossible to open from the outside. Somebody had to not only open the door, but keep it open for several seconds in order for the raid to begin. Akasaka was the only one who could do that.
Akasaka.
Uh-oh.
入り口確保。作戦開始。
The complex on the other side of the club was getting a new tenant, and there were 2 trucks parked in front of the building. So I guess Akasaka was responsible for, like, keeping the door open. And the guard is like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you not entering? Why are you keeping the door open? And Akasaka is like, oh, you know, like, the air seems really stale in this room. Why don't you... Like, I'm leaving the door open for just a little bit so that the fresh air would come in. You know, just a little bit. But of course, that was just a disguise. The door to one of the trucks opened, and several dozen plainclothes investigators jumped out. The same thing was happening at the back door too. The ground level guards noticed this and began to draw their guns, but were taken down immediately by nearby investigators who had been pretending to be innocent bystanders. Several dozen investigators quietly went down the underground stairs. These narrow underground stairs were another obstacle to their operation. Everything would end up on the security camera. Their raid would become known within a few seconds. For that matter, a push on the security button would make it impossible for the lock to be opened from the outside. That's why they had to secure the door before the ambush. The guards on both sides of Akasaka noticed the loud footsteps coming down the stairs. The well-dressed guard also realized that something was wrong. The 3 guards shifted their attention from Akasaka to the stairs behind him. And as he sensed that attention shift, Akasaka took a quick, deep breath and then stopped breathing entirely. The 2 guards standing beside him suddenly rose into the air in strange positions. Akasaka had determined his position relative to the guards next to him, so he didn't need to check with his eyes. But it was so. His fists had been driven into their faces with such precise accuracy. Oh! His moves were well-trained ones, and showed no mercy against evil. They were as destructive as armor-piercing ammunition. And furthermore, Akasaka had retracted his arms at the same speed he struck. Everything looked so strange in the flashing lights. The man who witnessed all of this probably couldn't figure out what had just happened. The 2 guards were up in the air in strange positions, and the man who had been standing in front of him was now crouching low, and in that frozen moment, shattered. The well-dressed guard was smashed into the ceiling, and shortly afterward came crashing down onto the floor. Damn! I mean... I guess that's acceptable. That's a mildly acceptable feat you achieved there. Later on, while stopping liquid food, He would desperately try to remember whether it was a fist or a leg that broke his jaw. He would probably never quite recall it. Rather luckily, the way his body fell blocked the door, so Akasaka didn't have to hold it open any longer. Yet, a little bit of lumber to block the door.
赤坂突入する。
おい待て、後続と合流しろ、赤坂。
The room was filled with loud music, but everyone had already noticed the brouhaha at the entrance. That I'm kind of surprised that such a word as brouhaha is mentioned, like is written. This is the first time I'm reading that word out loud. As soon as Akasaka bellowed his warning, screams filled the club. Most people immediately hit the floor as if trying to proclaim their innocence. But all the guards reacted quickly to Akasaka. In the midst of all this, there were a few people who were trying to make their escape through the back alongside several guards. Akasaka restarted his breathing once more, and then stopped it again, and then ran after them like a wolf. He jumped onto the table, smashing expensive bottles of alcohol and scattering glasses with ice cubes made from the icebergs of the Arctic. A foreign bodyguard, whose previous profession must have been a professional boxer, thoughtlessly stood in front of Akasaka. With a heavy accent, he tried to taunt his opponent. But Akasaka couldn't have cared less about that. The only display that man was able to put on for him was that he was able to block Akasaka's attack. But it wasn't even an effective guard. The power of Akasaka's punches were so incredible that they simply broke the man's bones in his attempt to block them. Whoa! I mean, acceptable. The man's arm warped in a strange way. In the moment after the agony showed on his face, Akasaka's left arm ground into it. Akasaka, you see, is right-handed. The man should consider himself grateful that he was able to get away with a mere orbital fracture. Thinking that this was his chance, another man attempted to tackle Akasaka from behind. He assumed that no matter how strong a man was, he'd go down quickly when attacked from behind. He also assumed that as Akasaka was concentrating in front of him, he wouldn't be expecting an attack from behind to begin with. But that would only be true if Akasaka was just concentrating on his front. Indeed, the attacker was very wrong, for Akasaka was no longer even thinking about the man before him. Akasaka knew exactly when and what was about to happen. The experience he was built up to this day taught him that. His body, more than his mind, remembered the timing for when menaces to society like these would make their move from behind him. Both literally and figuratively, Akasaka's attack continued fluidly from left arm punch that he struck against the next boxer. His left arm retracted, and at the same time, he arched his left leg around beautifully as it crashed into the man approaching him from behind. Although sound signified that his nose had been broken. But Akasaka already knew that. Akasaka continued his motion and directed a decisive right blow to the side of his assailant's head. The man slammed into the wall and bounced off of it, rolling on the floor. Akasaka took another breath. Under the glare of the dazzling club lights, the guards realized they were up against a demon. Yes, they realized that there was no way to take him down. The guards were being paid to deal with humans. Fighting demons just wasn't in their job description. At that moment, backup finally arrived. Maybe finally isn't a suitable word. Everything that happened did so over a matter of seconds. The time it took for Akasaka to take down those 5 guards was a span of merely 2 breaths. Thanks to Akasaka's furious action, the flow of events was already set. Akasaka's intimidating first strike shattered the gang leader's will to run. They were all down on the floor, but one of them began smiling. Akasaka grabbed him by the collar and threw him against the concrete wall.
あなた警察ですか？不逮捕特権あります。私は外交官です。
そりゃよかったな。給料いくらだ？
これ外交問題になります。大使館へ連絡させてくだ。ああ！